One of the best parts of a sandbox campaign is the exploration piece of it. The world is vast, unknown, and full of both dangers and opportunities. Your players will start to carve their way through the wilderness, uncover the ancient secrets of your campaign setting, and interact with the different factions. As they continue this exploration, it's important as a game master and a campaign designer to think about how are we rewarding exploration and encouraging future expeditions by the party. Today I want to talk about one of the ways how we can integrate a reward system into our campaign setting and foster those future adventuring sessions. Hi, welcome back aboard the Earthmote. I'm Randall, and today we're talking about fast travel, a reward for players that put in the work to explore, navigate, and understand your campaign. Now you might be wondering, fast travel feels a little bit counterintuitive. How do you incorporate fast travel into your sandbox without removing the thrill of exploration? After all, isn't travel a big component of the exploration piece? And those concerns are somewhat valid, which is why we need to approach the situation with a little bit of care. In this video, we'll break down the best ways to integrate fast travel while keeping your overall travel components still meaningful, immersive, and earned. When I think of fast travel as a term, I think of video games. It's a mechanic devised to let the players move around the map quickly without having to run between locations every single time they want to go to a different point on the map. Essentially, the player is finding a checkpoint in the game, and then they can use that as a reference marker for the gameplay loop as they move through the map and explore different areas. Now, TTRPGs aren't video games. And if you're running or thinking about running a sandbox style game, you might be worried that including fast travel in your game is going to damage the experience. You might worry they won't get the full travel experience of mucking through the world and the greater world and exploring everything that's available in every single hex. And I understand those concerns, but I think we can mitigate them by applying some thoughtful design to how we are introducing these fast travel mechanics into our campaigns. First, we want to view the implementation of our fast travel systems as world building opportunities. It's not just a mechanic that lets the players move fast across your map. It should be an in-world system associated with lore, risks, and restrictions. As an example, take a look at the ferry doors in Dolmenwood. They offer an opportunity to travel faster across the map in terms of the character's overall speed. It takes fewer points to move across the area than it would if you're going overland. But it's not without its risks. First, random encounters can still happen on the ferry roads, and sometimes they could be more dangerous than random encounters you might find on the overland map. Second, when you enter into ferry, there's this element of time warping. So if the players are in a hurry, there's a chance that they'll actually take them longer going through the ferry doors than it would over land from a pure calendar perspective. So if they need to be at a certain location by a certain date, there's definitely a risk by going through ferry that they could totally miss that date, even though it is a faster travel in terms of the overall time duration. And of course, there's a bunch of built-in lore with the ferry doors and the different secrets around them and how they're kind of built into Dolmenwood. I'm not going to go too deep into here because that's not the point of this video, but you should definitely check it out if you are interested in that setting or those types of movement through a campaign setting. Beyond world building, fast travel matters because it keeps your game's pacing a little bit crisper and tighter. Once a region has been explored by the party, forcing the players to re-trudge through there repeatedly can drag the game down a bit. Yes, I know we like to act like our sandboxes are this great and interesting thing, but if the players have already explored it, they probably want to go and check something else out. The players like seeing new stuff. So implementing fast travel actually lets them get to those checkpoints quicker and continue to expand their reach and explore more areas of your map. And that's really great. That gives them more opportunities to see what you've created. And it's both a win for you and it's an exciting win for them because they get to see those new places. Fast travel also encourages player agency. By implementing these in-game solutions into our campaign, we're giving the players the opportunity to learn how to move faster through the map if that's a choice they want to make. They can choose to learn how to unlock these different fast travel methods or research them or discover more information about them. And once they unlock them, they kind of feel rewarded for their choice in figuring out how to improve their mobility and their speed in exploring your campaign world. And once they have that method unlocked, they can still choose their mode of travel if they want. If they want that more in-depth travel experience, maybe they want to explore areas, they could choose to go overland slowly, maybe exploring hexes looking for new things. But if they're in a hurry or want to get to a place that they've unlocked a fast travel spot to, then they can utilize the fast travel method and get there and continue their exploration. It's not a either or situation. They're just kind of complements in building your world and making it richer. So fast travel matters in your campaign design. It isn't just a video game gimmick to speed up the gameplay loop. It's a great enabler for player choice, and it adds further exploration opportunities to your world and your game because your players are able to get to other spots quicker, saving you time at the table and letting them check out the other fun areas that you've built on your map. Now that we've talked about why we should include fast travel in our games, let's talk about a few different types and flavorful ways on how to incorporate fast travel into your world. The first area is magical fast travel. Magical fast travel is probably the most obvious one we could employ in our fantasy sandbox settings. Usually the players are going to need to discover something about the travel method to use it. Or perhaps maybe they need to acquire some sort of portal key or sequence in order to activate the magic. The two most common types here are teleportation circles. So this is usually your instant teleportation devices. So it just takes the players from point A to B instantaneously with no kind of resolutions or major consequences in between. Now these teleportation circles can be fixed between two locations. So using, circle A always goes to circle B, or it could be multi-locational where, you can go from circle A to, B, C, D, E, F, whatever. In the latter case, the user probably needs some sort of input code in order to set their destination. So if they're going from A to D, there's probably a code for D that they need to input into their travel device to make sure that's where they wind up. Risks in teleportation circles are usually low unless you want to bake a percentage chance of misfire into using the teleportation circle. Secondly, we have things like fairy doors, shadow roads, planar rifts. These are all kind of similar ideas that have a few common elements. First, they usually involve some sort of travel element, even though they're fast travel. So they let the players move quicker, but they still have to traverse the shadow road to get wherever they want to go. It's just an alternate pathway from the overland method that they could otherwise use. Secondly, they still usually involve some sort of risk. Now, it's up to you on what you want this risk to be. It could be time dilation, it could be random encounters with monsters from kind of that realm or alternate dimension. It could be some sort of environmental hazard. It could be a corruption mechanic, whatever you want. If you're going to use these fast travel methods, I would definitely encourage some sort of element of risk or possibly multiple risks in using these different methods. From there, we have the second type of fast travel, which I'm calling mundane fast travel. Mundane fast travel allows the players to overcome physical barriers on the map in a faster manner. So if there's a mountain pass or a waterway, the mundane fast travel lets the players get there quicker than going by foot or horse and cart. There are definitely still risks present for mundane fast travel. You're going to have those random encounters. There could be bad weather. You get the idea. There's also probably a cost associated with using the mundane fast travel method over the standard overland mode. The party is paying for convenience just like we would in the real life. It's the trade-off of, driving somewhere slower in my car than paying more to ride the airplane and get there faster. So examples of this include riverboats, ferries, passenger ships, possibly specialized caravans. Maybe they have some faster mode of transportation that's not readily available to the party. These still come with their own risks and dangers, going across the water. Maybe there's sea serpents or krakens, things like that the players would have to contend with. You can use aerial travel, so skyships or maybe giant birds like a great rock that's been trained by a dwarf that the party can pay to fly them over a mountain range. That's really cool. That's really flavorful. There's a cost associated with it, right? They have to pay money to use the rock to fly over the mountains, and there's still risk. There could be other aerial monsters that would attack them. And of course, the other risk of being in the air is that you have a risk of falling. A lot more risky than having your 2 feet on the ground when you encounter a wandering monster. Lastly, you could include things like underground highways. So maybe the dwarves or gnomes have built a tunnel under the mountains that would allow the players to go through that area a lot faster than it would take to go over the high mountain pass. Or it could be natural. Maybe there's like a purple worm that has carved tunnels through the mountains. They could go through there, but there's going to be risks associated with that. If the underground methods are active, then they're probably going to have to pay for access. So they're going to have to pay the dwarves to use their tunnel. If they're abandoned, then there's probably a good reason for that. There might be some sort of dangers lurking in the dark. Finally, we have a less common but still valid and interesting option, what I'm calling player-driven fast travel. Essentially, this is where players unlock additional modes of fast travel through their own ingenuity and play at the table. There are a lot of different ways that this could unfold. Think about the different resources that are available in your game of choice and how the players might use them to their benefit in order to get these modes of fast travel. So some examples would include magic items, taming rare mounts, domain play, access through social interactions. So with that said, here's a few more specific examples of what I'm talking about. Taming a fast mount. So maybe rather than paying the dwarf to fly in his rock, maybe the party comes across a rock and befriend it or tame it themselves. So now they have access to this giant bird that can fly them across the mountains. Pretty cool. From a domain aspect, maybe they build roads or bridges that improve the travel within the area. Once they've kind of conquered a wilderness area and set up their own domain, they could undertake these different civic projects that improve the speed around their area of play. It's a fun and interesting setup, and it also encourages NPCs to use those modes as well. So maybe now they're encouraging new trade to their domain that otherwise wouldn't have been possible without the roads and bridges. Lastly, they can gain favor with different factions. So maybe the party gains favor with a local wizard's college by donating rare texts or finding alchemical ingredients for them. And in payment for doing those quests or befriending those wizards, they get access to their teleportation circle. So now that we've covered why fast travel is a good addition to include in your sandbox, and we've given some examples on different types of fast travel you can include, let's talk about implementing fast travel with some consideration to making it fun and engaging within your campaign. First, we want to make sure that it's earned. Fast travel should be something that's unlocked by the players through exploration, diplomacy, or resources. Players like learning secrets. Players like unlocking new parts of the map or finding new toys to play with. Let them earn those rewards through the course of their play. Don't just give them an amulet of teleportation that nullifies large portions of the game. The sandbox is designed to intentionally kind of start slowly. They slowly explore the area around their starting point, and then as they kind of gather power and different resources, they learn more things about the area, and they can move faster once they've uncovered those different elements. Secondly, even though they have fast travel, make sure there's still some risk involved with it. Just because they're moving fast doesn't mean they're able to move safely. A rock could still be shot down from the skies, a magical teleportation circle could misfire and then send them in a random location. You get the idea. I think some of the most interesting tools that we can design into our games should have drawbacks or considerations that the players need to think about and make decisions on. You want them to think and make decisions based on the different risk-reward profiles that these different options offer, and let them come to their choice based on the situations that they're in. Thirdly, make sure that the world is reacting to their newfound abilities. If the players establish a new fast travel method and it becomes known by other NPCs or factions, make sure they're reacting to that. What if a faction learns of the ferry door that the party has been using? Do they start to use it as well? What if the Archfey learns that mortals are traversing their ferry road? Do they increase patrols along their ferry road to stop that? There should be consequences to the actions. That's how you make a living sandbox, a breathing world, and add sort of depthness and richness that the world doesn't just revolve around the players. Things are happening, but they're also happening in response to choices that the players are making, so they can kind of see that impact and how it kind of introduces new developments into the campaign. Thirdly, make sure you are mixing it up. Don't just include one type of fast travel in your campaign. Make sure you're layering in a couple different choices that have different risk reward profiles. That way the players can choose between a few different options. Having multiple choices is always good. It makes for interesting play and deliberation by your party as they decide what's the best mode of action, or in this case, mode of transportation. Fast travel isn't just about skipping content, it's about respecting player agency and keeping the adventure pace moving when they have the ability to use fast travel. Whether it's an ancient teleportation ruin, a friendly rock, or a well-earned alliance with a guild of sea merchants, fast travel should feel like a natural part of your world. What are your favorite ways to handle fast travel in your campaigns? Go ahead and leave a comment down below letting me know. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe. Check out Enchanted Nimbus, my monthly newsletter. This video is actually inspired by material I wrote in issue number 5. So if you want to see more content like that in the future, go ahead and check it out. Thanks for hopping aboard the Earthmote. I'll see you in the next one.